What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLDB Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in the one, the only Time City. And we're back over here in the Jurassic section, and we get a lot done in today's episode. We actually are really close to finishing up this section for good and actually like getting everything fully done in the section, so I do not have to worry about this section not being ready by opening. So just to give you a rundown a little bit of what we're going to be working on soon. Obviously, we're going to finish up the Jurassic section in the next episode, and we're probably going to head over either to the Apocalypse section or the entrance area first. I don't know exactly which one I want to do first, if I want to do the sections first or the entrance area. I probably want to look more into the sections, so you're most likely going to work on the Apocalypse area and really get that finished up and get all the buildings finished up that I need over there. And also a couple more rides and attractions that also are going to be in that section as well. That way these two sections are going to be for sure done. I got to finish up all the lighting. You'll see in the second half of this video, we pretty much work up all the lighting areas for the Jurassic section. So the lighting area, all the lighting is good, and all the details to the buildings and everything else is good as well. So you'll see that in the second half of the build that we do that. And this first half is pretty much curbs and a lot of placements of curbs and finish up curbs and fences. So that's the only thing about these episodes, is they're going to be a little bit boring in a way, because I do a lot of work, curb and fence and light work. So it's kind of a little bit of a finishing touch to get this section done, ready to go, and everything like that. So anytime I saw where I was like, oh, I haven't finished that curb, I was on it. I almost took the extra time to finish up this area, but it got a little late, so I decided to go ahead and finish it up at the beginning of the very next episode, which I'm okay with. So I know I had a little bit of an absence of episodes for some time, and that was because I was working on a project that I wanted to get done. Again, that was my Mystery Mine style coaster that's going into Silverwood that I'm collaborating with Shadow Phoenix on. So be sure to check him out if you haven't already. His channel is pretty awesome as well. So anyways, I wanted to fill this spot up with a new building, which I had a staff building over here, or a staff room over here, but I didn't actually build around it with a building yet. So decided to go ahead and throw in a new style kind of building that I thought would fit kind of decently well over here. A lot of vines and stuff, of course, you know, different stuff like that to make that building look pretty awesome. And then I had to fill this area up in some sort of this corner up some way, so I decided to make this really big wooden fence that kind of is like a barrier from the terrain to the lower terrain in a way. So that's kind of the idea that's going to be used for. And of course a little bit of shrubbery to fill in the extra spot right there. And I wanted to go back into this building because I hated the way this building looked, and I wanted to add a little more detail to it as well. So it was pretty much this restroom building that I thought was just kind of ugly. I know it was square and everything, and you know, it just didn't have enough detail to it. So I decided to add a wooden, just kind of like this wooden slanted roof at the top to give it a little bit more shape to it and make it look a little bit better. I know it's Jurassic section, so I know there wasn't too much I could have done, but I just had to go with what I had, and I just wanted a little bit more detail, you know. I know I didn't have to worry about detailing too much in this area, but it's hard, you still want to detail without doing detail, if that makes sense. It's kind of interesting concept in a way. So I just wanted to kind of make it a little bit more Jurassic-like, and a little bit more detail without adding too much detail. So because again, these wooden buildings shouldn't have too much detail, and they're kind of wooden architecture. So I also wanted to make a hill over here because I want to have a spot where the path connects to. This might be like a little I'm gonna touch up on that terrain hill a little bit more, but it might be a nice little spot for maybe a backstage area or something like that, or maybe even some future expansions. You never know. Wink, wink. So again, I had to fill up and figure out all these fence areas. I'm happy that I could actually go back into these and use these fences and angle them any way I want. Used to, you couldn't because you didn't have the scenery groups. I mean, you technically could, but you'd have to build it all within the you'd have to place a block down so it counts as a building. So I was able to just use it as a scenery group, which was a little bit easier and better. Also went over here and just kind of got rid of those grass patches that I don't really want to be seen, with some more like curbs and different stuff like that to make it look a little bit better. So I'm excited to really get to work on Time City. You're going to be seeing a lot of areas just start to get more completed. Those of you that might be wondering, when are you going to go back to the dark ride or the sci-fi section? That's a good question, because we'll be coming back to that after we get all of this finished, and I want to make sure all this is good before I get too far, because I don't want to go and work so much on that and then not have time later to work on these sections again. So I'm just kind of being cautious here, because again, like I said, the park will open on May 18th, 2019 to the public, and there might only be 2 to 3 sections open. There might be a section that might open later at a later date, but for the most part, we're gonna open the park gradually if we have to. But the park for sure is going to be opening on time, no matter what, so we just got to make sure we have those sections ready to go, and I want to make sure we're good on that and I don't have to worry about it. So that's just kind of where I'm at on that. So just so you guys know, that's the reason why we've come back just out of nowhere to the Jurassic section, for that very reason, because I have to get all this done. So another issue I had was, the queue line of Raptor Run still had some finishing touches that needed like this fence down this ramp, and there was another spot where there's a turn that was kind of interesting. I didn't do it for so long because it was something that was going to take me some thinking, and it was a little bit hard to get around, but I knew I had to get it done this time. So just a little, this ramp wasn't too hard though. I just had to get those fences going down and then some footers onto the support structure for that as well. And like I said, lots of curbs that are being worked on as well to just kind of make the pathway look a little more finished and polished. And again, we're about to get into the section here shortly where I just work a lot on lighting and everything. So there's a lot of lighting that I still have to do, and there's still some fencing I have to do on the exits ramp for the log flume, and that was a ride that I had to still kind of finish up, or not ride that, or I still might have a couple things I still need to do in there. So but I think we're actually on a pretty good pace. It shouldn't take me too much longer to get the Jurassic section completely done. It's pretty much done. It just has those finishing touches that we have to get done. So that's kind of what we've been doing this last episode or two. And again, we'll probably most likely finish up very early in the next episode. So I'll finish it up in the next episode. It'll probably take me 30-ish minutes, maybe an hour at most, left to do in this section. And then we'll be heading to the Apocalypse section and finishing it up. It probably will take a little bit longer to finish up the Apocalypse section, but all I have to do is get some more buildings over there, finish up some queue lines, and get maybe a couple more rides in there, and fill up all that empty space for that, and then connect it, of course, to the entrance area with the time portal. So over here, I just wanted to make a nice queue cover for this spot in the queue of Raptor Run, and I was actually really happy with the roof skeleton here. I thought it turned out really nice for what it was, the wooden structure. It actually was probably my favorite structure I've ever made when it comes to, like, the skeleton of the roof. So that it actually turned out really nice. I was actually really happy with it. So it's just because I had a little bit more extra design and a little bit more effort put into it, I thought. So I was a little bit pretty satisfied with how that turned out. So a little bit of shrubbery and patching up here to end this portion here, and then we're about to head into the second part of the video, which is a separate recording. So Then we go into here, and as you can see the cuts, and I start off with the fencing on the outside of the pathway going up the hill, and all the way around up to Raptor Run. So Raptor Run, that little plaza, I was like, wait, I need to get a fence up there because, you know, I really think about realistically how this would work out, so... but thankfully I can go up these with these fences at a little bit of an angle with all the terrain that we've been using. I'm excited. I'm really happy that I use a little bit of terrain. This park isn't really terrain based, but I wanted to have a little bit in some sections just to show that the park's not completely flat and there's still terrain existent, you know. I think it just gives a little more realistic, like what park in real life, you know, has completely flat paths. I mean, I'm sure there's something out there, but, you know, I think it's nice to just have a couple of hills, you know, somewhere in the pathways and different sections. So this is probably the most terrainy area, is actually the Jurassic section, I would say. The Roman section's actually completely flat, and at least as of right now, and then the sci-fi section actually has, pretty flat, except the dark rides utilizing a lot of the terrain, and the flying coaster uses a little bit of terrain, but not a whole lot. So the Apocalypse section has a little bit of path that uses the terrain as well. So it's pretty decent. Like, there's no crazy hills around here, but it works pretty nicely. I'm really big on terrain. I love terrain coasters and everything like that, and if I'm not using a lot of terrain, making a terrain-based park, I still like to throw in a little bit here and there just to, you know, give the vibe, you know, that this is still realistic, and I want it to be built more realistically. I built these curves at the end of the path a little bit, or piece by piece, because when I just placed the fence itself, it kind of clipped over the pathway, and I didn't really want that. I wanted it to look at least kind of nice, and like there was some effort put into it, so I decided to make these piece by piece. Just to, you know, it didn't take too much extra time, but I thought it was just nice to put those in there to, you know, make them look a little bit nicer. So it worked pretty well. And then the Raptor Run Plaza is pretty much finished, actually. And again, there's a lot of lighting and stuff that I need to add, and then, you know, just some general path essentials like benches and you know, litter bins and stuff like that. Maybe go back and add any foliage and terra painting, anything I need to do to finish up the area. Make sure all the area has audio theming around it, so the area can come to life a little bit, and different sections or different things like that. Needed a little entrance sign here so people knew what the entrance is. Sometimes, you know, people might want that. This sign was a little bit overdone with the sports, but I still might add something else on there as well, just like a little information sign or something about the ride. And then I noticed, you know, I need a curb in this part of the path as well, over by the Raptor Run sign. So had to go with another curb around here. I think after this curb is when we actually get into working a lot on the lighting of the area, and that was one thing that we have to get done as well. I also want to make sure there is, if you guys didn't know, we're going to have fireworks part of this park. I've never really worked with fireworks much in my parks, and I really wanted to for this one. I think it's definitely suitable to add like a fireworks show for this park at night, right behind the clock tower for sure. I think that area is perfect to have, you know, it's right in the middle of the park, so you could probably see it from every section, everything like that, and it'll be really nice. So, but anyways, if you guys didn't know for sure, I am going to be working, after Time City's done, I am going to be working on my Silver City recreation. I know a lot of you have been asking a lot of the, if the Cedar Point recreation will ever come back. I said possibly, and if it does, I'm going to reboot it and start from scratch again on that, since we've had a lot of updates since then and different stuff like that. But that is definitely way down the line. I'm going to focus more on my SDC recreation first, because SDC can actually fit into one park, barely, depending on how I do it. But as for like Cedar Points, you're gonna have to do like multiple parts. You can't fit the entire park in one biome. You know, you got to do it in probably 2 park files to make that work. You know. So that's something I might do, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd prefer to fit an entire park in the space that we have, unless I condensed it a little bit. And it'd be cool if we had like an ocean biome or something like that to where I could surround it by water. I would definitely like to see that. That'd be actually kind of cool. So now we get to go into a little bit of the lighting of the entire area, which actually turned out really nice. The area is really nicely lit up in the end, and I'm pretty happy of how it turned out. Yeah, and then I had to go in. I always like to go in with some area lights and just set it underneath the lanterns, the lamps, and so it gives out a little bit more lights than what the actual lantern does, because it doesn't end up giving out that much light. So I like to put in the area lights just to brighten it up a little bit, and it just lightens up the park a little bit better, in my opinion. So I really do think that is kind of necessary in a way if you want to have some nicely lit parks. Just throw some area lights underneath it to make it look like they're lighting up the area a little bit better. And you want to put the middle of it directly under the lights. That way it looks like the brightest point is right underneath and everything. And at the end, I was like, I really like went around. I could have ended. I didn't realize like I could have attached these to the actual lamps themselves. I didn't notice until like towards the end of the episode that I'm like, wait a minute, I can just attach this to the lamps and then copy it. Why am I doing it all separate? I didn't like realize it at first. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I wasn't doing that at the beginning. I always do stuff the hard way at first, if you didn't know. So then I realized, you know, oh man, I got to do these curbs over here real quick by this building because they weren't done yet. And if you didn't know, you can push L on your keyboard to use a light for Planet Coaster. If you're working in the dark space, it actually puts a light on your camera so you can actually see. I didn't know that for the longest time, so just so you guys didn't know, if you didn't know, it's definitely helpful and nice to know that for sure. I still need to get a sign that says staff only in this spot right here, so the you know, the employee staff building, you know, has a little sign that says staff only and everything. Make it look a little nice. So, but overall, I think the Jurassic section is turning out pretty good. It's pretty much done. By the end of this episode, just a couple more touches here and there that I still need to do and go through to make sure it's done. I want to do a little bit more touching up on the restaurants as well, maybe even a little interior. I still need to make a queue cover over the monorail station for that queue, just a little one or something, you know, very easy and basic. So I need to do that, do some railings for the log flume. That's another thing I have to do. And it was about, I think, around right here where I'm like, I can just attach this to, you know, the lamps. And we're getting close to that. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't realize that. And I think it's about right here, actually. Yep, this is where I'm like, okay, I am attaching it to the lamp. And that way, I don't, every time I duplicate the lamp, it already has it. You know, I should have done that to begin with. But anyways, it turns out nice. We've got lights, and I still have a little bit of lighting to do around the park, or a little bit in this section to make sure it's finished, and we'll be good to go. So anyways, that is about the main thing I think I do left in this episode. So anyways, again, if you guys do want to watch these episodes live, be sure to go follow me on Twitch. I live stream these almost every night. I have my stream schedule up on Twitch if you want to go check that out as well, because I actually have a schedule that I go by while working on it. And yeah, so very exciting, and go check me out on Twitch. We're doing awesome over there. I've had overwhelming amount of supports. So thank you guys so much for all the support you've given on Twitch and on YouTube. You guys are awesome, so I really do appreciate it. You guys are enjoying the series, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy the series even when it's over. So anyways, I just wanted to do a little bit of lighting for the monorail station because it didn't have any lights yet, and that's pretty much it for this episode. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content like this, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys in the very next live stream or video. Thank you guys so much again, and make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. And I will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much, and goodbye.